Welcome to Starship TV. Adam Smith, His Principles and Modern Relevance. Biography. Adam Smith, 1723 to 1790, was a Scottish philosopher and economist widely regarded as the father of modern economics. He studied at the University of Glasgow and later Oxford, becoming a professor of moral philosophy. His most influential works include The Theory of Moral Sentiments, 1759, and An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations, 1776, which laid the foundation for classical economic theory and free market capitalism. Smith's ideas grew out of the Enlightenment, with its emphasis on reason, liberty, and progress. His unique contribution was combining moral philosophy with economic analysis, arguing that human sympathy and self-interest are both necessary for a well-functioning society. Most notable ideas from Adam Smith's economic thought: the invisible hand. Smith believed that individuals acting in their own self-interest unintentionally benefit society as a whole. Through the pursuit of profit, competition, and trade, an invisible hand guides resources to their most efficient use without centralized planning. By pursuing his own interest, he frequently promotes that of the society more effectually than when he really intends to promote it. Division of labor. Smith illustrated how breaking down production into specialized tasks greatly enhances productivity. His example of a pin factory showed that workers specializing in separate steps could produce thousands of pins daily, far more than if each made entire pins alone. Limited role of government. Smith believed government had three proper functions: protecting society from foreign invasion, administering justice, and erecting public works and institutions that private individuals would not profitably maintain, such as roads and education. Labor as the source of value. Smith argued that labor is the real measure of the value of goods, especially in early societies. The value of a commodity was based on the amount of labor it could command or required for its production. Free markets and laissez-faire. Smith opposed heavy government regulation and argued for a self-regulating economy where prices, wages, and production are determined through open competition. He believed market forces lead to efficiency and innovation when left alone. Moral foundations of economic life. In his earlier work, Smith emphasized that commerce is built on trust, fairness, and ethical behavior. Economic exchange, he said, requires moral sympathy and a sense of justice, not just greed. Critique of mercantilism. Smith rejected the mercantilist belief that national wealth came from stockpiling gold and maintaining trade surpluses. Instead, he believed wealth comes from productive labor, trade, and specialization, and that free exchange benefits all nations. Natural versus market prices. He distinguished between the natural price, the true cost of production, and the market price, which fluctuates based on supply and demand. Over time, market prices tend to align with natural prices in a competitive economy. Capital accumulation and growth. Smith recognized the importance of saving and reinvesting profits into production. This leads to increasing capital stock, improved tools and technology, and higher wages and economic progress over time. Mutual benefit in trade. Smith saw trade as a positive-sum game. When nations freely exchange goods they specialize in, both sides gain. He favored open markets and discouraged policies that hindered the flow of trade across borders. Why Adam Smith opposed tariffs. Smith strongly opposed tariffs, believing they harmed both the economy and society. Tariffs distorted natural market efficiencies and reduced competition, raised consumer prices by protecting domestic producers, encouraged laziness and inefficiency among businesses, benefited politically connected industries at the public's expense, invited retaliation and trade wars, undermined the mutual benefit of free international exchange. The interest of the consumer is almost always sacrificed to that of the producer. However, Smith allowed for limited exceptions, such as temporary retaliation or protecting vital national industries. Modern deviation from Adam Smith's principles. Although Smith's ideas still influence global economic theory, many modern practices contradict his core principles. Adam Smith's vision. Modern reality. Free trade, trade wars, tariffs, and protectionism. Consumer priority, corporate lobbying, and price manipulation. Moral commerce. Profit-driven systems with little accountability. Limited government. Extensive regulatory states and central banks. Value through labor. Financial speculation often outweighs labor-based production. Unfair tariffs against the United States. Today, many countries impose tariffs that take advantage of America's relatively open markets. This contradicts Smith's principle of mutual benefit through fair trade. Examples of countries whose trade policies have hurt the U.S. include: China imposes high tariffs on U.S. goods, restricts market access, and subsidizes state-run industries. European Union maintains tariffs on American agriculture, cars, and digital services, even while exporting freely to the U.S. India has some of the world's highest tariffs, particularly on motorcycles, electronics, and food imports from the U.S. Japan uses non-tariff barriers such as strict testing and labeling to block U.S. agricultural and auto products. Brazil protects domestic industries with high tariffs and complex regulations. Canada and Mexico have repeatedly used tariffs or restrictions during trade disputes, especially in dairy, lumber, and aluminum. Economic impact on the U.S. Reduced competitiveness for American products overseas, lost market share for us farmers, manufacturers, and tech firms. Trade imbalances, as imports flood in while exports are blocked. Job losses in export-dependent industries. Would Adam Smith support U.S. retaliation? Yes, in limited cases. Smith did allow for temporary retaliatory tariffs to encourage fairer trade. When some foreign nation restrains the importation of our manufactures, we may retaliate. While not protectionist, Smith believed in reciprocity. If other nations close their markets, it is reasonable to pressure them to open up through measured retaliation. You're watching Starship TV. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like this type of content. Visit the Starship TV channel for more. Conclusion. Adam Smith championed a vision of freedom, fairness, and morality in markets. He believed that self-interest, guided by ethics and competition, leads to prosperity for all. His strong opposition to tariffs rested on the principles of consumer benefit, productive efficiency, and mutual advantage. In modern times, many economies have strayed from these principles. In particular, foreign tariffs and protectionism have harmed the U.S. economy, turning Smith's ideals against the very nation that once embodied them most. Today, his warnings about government favoritism, trade distortion, and the abandonment of virtue in commerce are more